In 1888, women in Britain employed at the Bryant and May match factory in Bow, London, England, went on strike to stand against the poor working conditions they faced. They managed to gain certain labor rights for themselves and motivated unskilled workers in various sectors to organize and seek improvements. The Matchstick Girls represent one of many powerful instances of rights and responsibilities. These women have set an example for corporations globally, asserting that it is our right and duty to ensure that women are treated with dignity in the workplace.
By 1880, Bryant and May had become one of the largest manufacturers of matches that were crafted with harmful white phosphorus. They implemented new machinery and took over competing match businesses and smaller firms, resulting in reduced pay. By 1880, the company's monopoly had caused wages to fall below the levels they had been at 12 years prior.
Annie Besant was the organizer of the Matchstick Girls protest. She was a socialist and ran a publication called The Link, which served as the journal of Law and Liberty League. Besant worked with the radical journalist W.T. Stead. On June 15th of 1888, she attended a meeting with several other socialite and feminist writers, including Clementine Black, where they discussed the working conditions at Bryant and May's factory. Later, Besant worked along with activist Herbert Burroughs, beginning distributing leaflets to the workers of far-field works after their long days of labor. She followed up that discussion by publishing an article entitled "White Slavery in London," calling for a boycott of Bryant and May matches.
An excerpt from the article includes the following from The Link, Issue 21, White Slavery in London. Let us see how the money is made with which these monstrous dividends are paid. The figures quoted were all taken down by myself in the presence of 3 witnesses from persons who had themselves been in the prison house, whose secrets stay disclosed. The hour for commencing work is 6:30 in summer and 8 in winter. Work concludes at 6 p.m. Half an hour is allowed for breakfast and an hour for dinner. This long day of work is performed by young girls who have to stand the whole of the time. A typical case is that of a girl 16, a piece worker. She earns 4 shillings a week and lives with a sister employed by the same firm, who earns good money as much as 8 shillings or 9 shillings per week. Out of their earnings, 2 shillings is paid for the rent of 1 room. The child lives on only bread and butter and tea, alike for breakfast and dinner, but related with dancing eyes that once a month she went to a meal where you get coffee and bread and butter and jam and marmalade and lots of it. Now and then she goes to the Paragon. Someone stands treat, and that appeared to be the solitary bit of color in her life. The splendid salary of 4 shillings is subject to deductions in the shape of fines. If the feet are dirty or the ground under the bench is left untidy, a fine of £3 is inflicted. For putting burns, matches that have caught fire during the work on the bench, 1 shilling, has been forfeited, and one unhappy girl was once fined 2 shillings, £6 for some unknown crime. If a girl leaves 4 or 5 matches on her bench when she goes for fresh frame, she is fined £3, and in some departments a fine of £3 is inflicted for talking. If a girl is late, she is shut out for half the day. That is for the morning, 6 hours, and £5 is deducted out of her day's £8. One girl was fined 1 shilling for letting web twist around a machine in an endeavor to save her fingers from being cut, and was sharply told to take care of the machine. Never mind your fingers. Another who carried out the instructions and lost a finger thereby was left unsupported while she was helpless. The wages cover the duty of submitting to an occasional blow from a foreman. One, who appears to be a gentleman of variable temper, clouts them when he is mad.
This led to one of the leaders of the protest, Sarah Chapman, approaching Besant in her office in Bouverie Street for support with the strike. Sarah Chapman worked as a matchmaking machinist at Bryant and May, alongside her mother and sister. By the time of the 1888 strike, Sarah Chapman held a comparatively well-paying position at the Bryant and May factory and was a respected member of the workforce. As one of the leaders of the 1888 Bryant and May Matchstick Girls strike, she played a crucial role in organizing this pivotal action, which marked the first industrial strike led by women for women. Sarah was a member of the strike committee, which included notable figures such as Alice Francis, Mary Cummings, Kate Schlater, Mary Driscoll, Eliza Martin, Jane Wakeling, and Mary Nollis. Then, in July 1888, the Matchstick Girls protested against the unsafe working conditions in their factory. After Annie Besant wrote a critical article about the company, Bryant and May tried to find out who spoke out among the workers. Just days later, about 1,400 employees from Fairfield Works walked out in protest of these dismissals. Their demonstration lasted about 3 weeks and led to a hard-won victory. While Annie Besant is often credited with leading the strike, it was the young working-class woman who truly drove the movement.
Since 1881, there had been at least 4 other strikes at Fairfield Works concerning working conditions and pay cuts, showing the women's determination to stand up for their rights. On July 17th, Bryant and May finally gave in, agreeing to remove all fines and deductions and promising that there would be no punishments against the strikers. The company also agreed to recognize the Union of Women Matchmakers, formed on July 27, 1888. This union later became the Matchmakers Union, allowing both men and women to join as members.
While the union was relatively short-lived, as industrial changes and the decline of match industry affected its membership and influence, however, its impact as a trailblazer for women worker advocacy, especially for women and unskilled laborers, remains a significant part of labor history. The Match Girls' fight was rooted in the basic right to be treated with dignity. The formation of the Union of Women Matchmakers demonstrated the power of women to organize and fight for their rights, challenging traditional gender roles in the labor movement.
The Matchstick Girls' Strike of 1888 is an important historical event that marked a key moment in the history of the labor rights and women's empowerment. While its legacy isn't as widely represented in media as some other labor movements, it has inspired books, plays, documentaries, and other forms of storytelling. Books such as The Match Girls, the story of the 1888 London Matchstick Girls' Strike by Lois Raw, offer detailed accounts of the strike, its leaders, notably Sarah Chapman, and its impact on labor history. In other media such as theater and television, the 1966 musical The Match Girls by Bill Owen and Tony Russell brought the story to the stage, focusing on the workers' bravery and solidarity while incorporating songs and drama to humanize the struggle. Now, on the big screen, the strike has been featured in documentaries about labor history and women's rights, such as those produced by the BBC or other British historical programs. Another example is the historical fiction movie Enola Holmes 2. During the film, the Matchstick Girls fight for justice, which aligns with the film's broader themes of challenging oppressive systems and empowering women. Enola's determination to uncover the truth reflects the resilience of the real-life Matchstick Girls, who stood up against their exploitive employees despite their vulnerable position in society, ensuring that it's their right and responsibility to be treated with basic human rights. A possible scene where this is shown is now to be presented.
Takes place in the fictional Lions Company. The real story unfolded at Bryant and May's matchmaking factory, where the firing of a single worker triggered a wave of solidarity. By the day's end, 1,400 women and girls had ceased to work. The strike of the Matchstick Girls had begun.
It's time for us to use the only thing we have, ourselves. It's time for us to refuse to work.
The Match Girls' Strike of 1888 still remains a powerful example of how rights and responsibilities are intertwined. The Match Girls recognized their right to fair treatment, but also took on the responsibility of challenging an exploitative system. Their actions forced employers to fulfill their responsibilities, inspired the public to advocate for social justice, and catalyzed broader systematic changes. This event serves as a timeless reminder that progress often depends on the courage to demand rights and the willingness to act responsibly for the greater good.